So I was looking at Skyrim Call to Arms, and it really intrigued me. A miniature skirmish war game set in the Skyrim narrative. Big fan of Skyrim. Still enjoy playing it to this day. And the question, what really captured my attention, there's a duality to it. And I'm going to ask you guys for some recommendations because I know there's a number of you out there who play. It is a war game. It is a war game, but play skirmish-based war games, lower model count war games. And the only lower model count war game that I play somewhat regularly is Mordheim, City of the Damned. Going in, getting that weird stone, playing Possessed or Dwarven Treasure Hunters. So what intrigued me about Skyrim was, first, the narrative. I mean, rules looked okay. I mean, there was nothing outstanding in the rules per se. They looked solid. I was interested in the IP. I love the idea of making some terrain to fit the Skyrim narrative. But what really intrigued me was the dungeon delve. This idea that I could go head-to-head with you, with our war bands, but either working together or just solo play, going into a randomized dungeon. AI-controlled dungeon, random treasures, random objectives, run around, explore around. That is what really attracted me. And that's what, in my mind, was worth the price of admission. Because I love dungeon crawling board games. I love dungeon crawlers, but many dungeon crawlers are on set rails. Either it's an adventure, or it's a scenario, or just physically, even if it's a random dungeon, laying out the dungeon tiles. I mean, it is a dungeon crawler, but to be able to have the freedom to even possibly explore a traditional wargaming table. Think about that, setting up a wargaming table and randomized loot, randomized objectives, randomized monsters. That's kind of neat. I've never really played something like that or explored something like that. So my first question to you guys, other systems out there that do that, other systems out there that have a random delve, a random solo, a random AI skirmish, miniature, low model count. I mean, I'm gearing up for Warhammer 40k 9th edition, and the model count's going to be even more extreme. So I need to keep it realistic. The aspect that I didn't really like, and part of me was thinking, pick up the Skyrim core rules. I went online and I looked at the plastics and I looked at the kits for the miniatures, and I wasn't really that impressed. They certainly capture the look. They certainly capture the feeling of the game, and that's a massive part of it. But extra pieces, multi-fit pieces that I can just see, like, it just screams Robotech to me. And I'm like, do I want to do that? Now, it is a smaller model count, but the system's going to grow out. There's going to be different factions. That makes me a little bit hesitant. And I was thinking, part of me was thinking, this is the duality where it's like, all right, pick up the core rules. It's only like $30. Gives you everything you need. It is very reasonable and looks very, very well produced from what I can see. But from that perspective and picking it up, if I didn't want to use the miniatures, do I proxy or utilize other miniatures? I could find Romans. I can find Norse dudes. I can find giant rats and other monsters and certainly skeletons and zombies with swords for undead. But then I'm not kind of playing Skyrim. Then I'm kind of utilizing a different system. So that's where I'm at, where it's like, it looks really interesting, the mechanics and the random delve, especially as a co-op miniatures war game, but just putting together those miniatures and grappling and dealing with that, I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting, but I really was hoping for more with the miniatures themselves, or go with the system, because again, the rules and the core and the cards and the dice, that's all separate. It actually works out, because then possibly looking to proxy other miniatures could still maybe be Skyrim. Your thoughts, your recommendations on other skirmish, delve, random miniature war games, and then if you've jumped into Skyrim, Call to Arms, your thoughts on the miniatures, because again, I know there is a big difference between seeing it and actually sitting down to build it.